talking shit, yeah, they breath stank. Walk up in the club, dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an...
What's going on, fight fans? It's another great day when you love MMA. Welcome back to Mad Matty Fight Talk. Mad Matty with the Puna boy himself, Crazy Chris. You are back at the best podcast in the world for predicting fights. Don't forget, before we get into it, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, tune in for all my content. We're going to be predicting all fights for Bellator and UFC for sure this coming year. Now, without further ado, UFC 284 is going on February 11th, exactly 1 week from today at the Rack Arena in Perth, Australia. It will be home to the champion versus champion fight between the lightweight champion Islam Makhachev taking on the 145 GOAT Alexander Volkanovski. Now, both of these guys are absolute monsters in their respective divisions. They have a combined record of 48-2. These guys do not lose fights other than one apiece. But I don't know, man. This matchup is really good. I think it's very good for Islam that he gets to defend his belt against a 145 guy right off the bat. I just think, look, the one thing, let me just say this real quick. The one thing I don't respect about the UFC is the commentators dick riding all these fighters like, well, you know, this guy might do good. Oh, I like him. So maybe I'm going to cut to the chase. Alexander Volkanovski is the greatest 145er there is. But as far as 155, he's never been tested there. And I think Islam is the worst possible matchup for him. I don't think Alexander Volkanovski can win this fight. I'll get into it, but I'm curious to see what you think.
Yeah, I mean, this is an amazing fight, though. You have the pound-for-pound king right now, who is Alexander Volkanovski, who is, if I'm not mistaken, is on like a 20-fight win streak. I mean, absolute fucking tear through the division, beating Max Holloway 3 times, Jose Aldo, Chad Mendes. I mean, Korean Zombie. The list goes on and on and on and on. It's going to be an interesting matchup. One thing that we know about Islam Makhachev is that he has phenomenal grappling. He's great at wrestling. A phenomenal sambo player. I don't think that his striking is too, I don't want to say underrated, but I think it's a little underrated, to be honest with you. I think that this is going to be quite a long night for Volkanovski if, and this is a big if Islam can get him to the ground. I don't see this being a very good situation for Volkanovski. Now, I do think that Volkanovski is going to have a couple of things. I'm just going to call him Volko. Volko's going to have a couple of things on his hand, right? Speed and accuracy. I mean, the things that he was using against Max Holloway was timing, precision. We also saw that against Korean Zombie. I mean, the dude does not miss, and when he shoots to hurt you. So the one big question is he going to have enough power to hit somebody like Islam and actually hurt him? At 145, you can pretty much rock anybody's chin, but when you gain another 10 pounds and you're fighting somebody who's 6 feet, not, you know. And again, Max Holloway is 6 feet, but we're talking about a big dude at Islam Makhachev.
Volkanovski at 145 over his past 3 fights, he does not knock people out. I mean, he has knocked people out, but we haven't seen that of late. He's more focused on his timing, his speed, his footwork, which that's great, and you need that at the 145 division. Islam Makhachev showed he has serious power in his hands when he fought Charles Oliveira. Now, granted, a lot of people have dropped Charles, but not only does he drop him, he gets right to work on the ground. Sambo versus jiu-jitsu, I take Sambo all day. Now, one thing I heard from Alexander Volkanovski is that he had a lot of trouble finding a Sambo training partner or people that he was trying to bring in for Sambo specifically didn't want to come to his camp. So that's a red flag for me already. Another big red flag is the fight time for both of these guys. Alexander Volkanovski averages 16 minutes and 50 seconds a fight. Islam averages 9 minutes a fight, 9 minutes and 6 seconds to be exact. And he also averages 3.4 takedowns per 15 minutes. This is a 5-round fight. It's his first title defense. Volkanovski's little, but he has long reach. But I think Islam is going to shock a lot of people in the stand-up department because he mixes it up with head kicks, with body kicks. He has heavier hands than people think, but he doesn't need that. Once he grabs Volkanovski, I don't see Volkanovski having the takedown defense to fight him off for five rounds. It's not going to work.
Well, that's the big question. That's the big question that everybody's asking. Is Volkanovski going to be too quick? Does he even get? Is he going to hit and run? Is that the game plan? And if so, does Islam? Because Islam's used to fighting people who fight back, right? Like we saw it against Max Holloway, the 3rd fight. Volko was touching him and moving. He wasn't staying in the pocket. He wasn't trying to throw leg kicks. He was trying to touch you with a 1-2, a 1-2-3, maybe a leg kick from the outside, but immediately moving back and moving around. The same thing with Korean Zombie. He got in, boom, boom, 1-2'd him and walked out. Boom, boom, 1-2'd him and walked out. He's not trying to stay there to get caught. So is this the fox catching the rabbit, or is this the rabbit outrunning the fox?
Well, I think that Volkanovski is going to give Islam probably the first 2 rounds that he's faced in a long time. I think Islam's going to stand in the pocket and trade with him. He's probably going to move very well. I don't think he's going to be easy to grab and just get to the ground. But I think over time, I don't think Volkanovski is going to be able to do that against a guy who's constantly pressing forward. He's going to be on his back foot a lot more. Like you said, he's fighting guys in the last couple fights that were willing to exchange with him. So he knew he was going to be able to get in the pocket, boom, 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 and get out. He's not going to be able to do that. He's going to be on a back pedal, and he's going to be worried about takedowns. He's going to be worried about a lot more than what he's used to dealing with. Now, one thing I did see in Volkanovski's fight is he does have some holes in his jiu-jitsu. Brian Ortega almost put him to sleep. Now, to Volkanovski's credit, he got out of that, and he fought through, and he ended up winning those fights. But against a guy who has a squeeze like Makhachev, I mean, we saw Islam tap out Oliveira faster than I've ever seen anybody do that to him. It was impressive. Oliveira said himself, the squeeze that guy has is insane, and that's coming from the #1 submission artist in the UFC.
Do you think that plays a big factor? Do you think it plays a big factor? Because Bobby Green also mentioned, he said that Islam was one of the strongest people, if not the strongest 155er he's ever faced.
I think Volkanovski is extremely strong as well, but I think coming up for your first lightweight fight against a guy who's been fighting 170 guys and 155 guys, who is one of the strongest people in that division, I cannot say, in my mind, as a straight up prediction, I say it's going to be a 4th round submission by Islam Makhachev. I don't think Volkanovski is going to be easy in the first 2 rounds. I think he's going to be landing, but I don't think he can hurt Makhachev. And you got to remember, dude, whether people like to say this or not, they're trying to let Islam be his own person. He's Khabib's training partner, and Khabib has really good hands. It's underrated as well. I mean, he doesn't have knockout power, but they have good striking. The Dagestans, the Russians, are getting better and better at striking. I like Alexander Volkanovski. I think he's the greatest 145er, but at lightweight, you're going to get an L. You're not going to be able to face this guy. I think what Volkanovski thought is that Oliveira was going to win, and Oliveira would have been a way, way easier fight for somebody like Volkanovski. I got Islam winning in the 4th round.
You give him a round more than I did. I take Islam Makhachev by submission in round 3. I think that this is going to be too much. I think that I think it's a little tricky. I think Islam, he's naturally a slow starter. He doesn't naturally come out, guns blazing. So I think he's going to feel him out. He's going to really try to get that timing down. As we saw with even Islam versus Oliveira. Oliveira was pressing him, which is also odd for Oliveira to be the presser. But as of late, he's kind of found his groove, so he's feeling more comfortable pressing forward, where Islam is really a counter fighter. He likes to see people's game plans unfold and then kind of aggress from there, right? Or progress as the fight goes on. So I think that the first couple of rounds, Islam's going to do what he naturally does, pick some shots, try to see if he can get him to the ground. If he can't get him to the ground, hey, no problem. We'll find another way. I think that Volkanovski is going to kind of just show off his game plan too soon. And I think that this doesn't go into the championship rounds. I think he wraps it up in round 3.
And you guys got to remember, man, even if it does go all 5 rounds, the way these fights have been scored and played out, it doesn't matter if you're landing bombs the entire fight. If you're getting pressed against the cage and they get a takedown, but you get up, they get another takedown, but you get up, they're going to win the fight. And Islam is going to be doing that for 25 minutes. So regardless, let us know what you guys think in the comments. We both have Islam Makhachev winning that title fight.
All right, guys, I'm super excited to announce the co-main event of the evening is going to be an interim belt on the line at featherweight. Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett. Maddie, take us away.
Yeah, you got number 2, Yair Rodriguez, taking on number 5, Josh Emmett. This is a pretty big moment for Josh Emmett in his career. I mean, a lot of people, this just shows how dangerous Yair Rodriguez is, because a lot of people wanted him to be in this fight, and he's coming off of a loss to Max Holloway in a really, really electrifying fight. Josh Emmett has been on a little bit of a win streak here. I believe he's on a 5-fight win streak. He's 18-2, taking on Yair, who's 5-3, who injured Ortega in their last fight, technically winning by submission, where he broke his arm or something happened weird with that. Look, this fight's going to be interesting. It's going to be power versus explosive striking. I really don't think that Josh Emmett is going to be able to stand with Yair Rodriguez. He needs to make this a grappling fight. And even when he does that, I still think he's going to be in a world of trouble. This is no knock on Josh Emmett. He's done a lot to get himself into title contention. I just really believe that Yair Rodriguez is going to absolutely dismantle Josh Emmett, judging off of that Calvin Kattar fight, where I thought Calvin Kattar won that fight, but You know, it was a back and forth, but I think Emmett, you know, if he's trying to go guns blazing like that against Yair, I think Yair's a little bit more dynamic than Cater, and he's going to find the home and knock him out.
This is one thing that you have to. So I mean, with MMA, boxing, any type of combat sport, you're only as good as your last performance. I can't say what you did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. It's what you did your last fight. And I mean, look at Josh Emmett's face versus Cater. Cater tore his ass up. I mean, Yair Rodriguez versus Max Holloway, probably one of my favorite fights ever of all times. And it was not, I mean, a very blown away win for Max Holloway. That was a pretty close fight in itself as well. But if you take the first 2 rounds, Yair put it absolutely on Max Holloway, a dangerous, dangerous Max Holloway. So when you're looking at Josh Emmett fighting Cater, it was a slow start, but Cater started to take away and take the lead and closed his eye, left him with a huge gash at the end. Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez both went to the hospital. I mean, these dudes definitely deserve to be there. But when you're talking striking versus striking, I mean, I got to give Yair the edge. Obviously, it's a bigger edge than anybody. You know, we want to say, hey, power is there, this and that. But, I mean, Yair's technical ability, his trickiness with his feet. I mean, the switch head kick he landed on Max Holloway was absolutely beautiful and almost took his head off. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to give Yair the advantage in this fight. Just saying that this doesn't go to the ground, just saying that maybe Josh Emmett can pull the Frankie Edgar on him and get him to the ground, ride him out for 5 rounds. If he does, hey, this would be an easy win for him. But this is no longer a younger Yair Rodriguez. This is a hungry Yair Rodriguez who's looking to be a champion. He wants that respect, and he's here to fight, and he's here to fight often, as his camp was saying. So I'm going to take Yair Rodriguez. I think, and this might be pushing it, I'm going to take him in a second round knockout. I think he puts Josh Emmett away. I think it's a head kick, and I think he puts him absolutely out.
I think the first round is going to be extremely close between these guys because Josh Emmett honestly doesn't get the credit he deserves. I mean, if you look at the stats between these guys, and the wise word of Mike Goldberg, they're virtually identical. They land the same strikes, the same defense. They got go down the list and look, they literally have identical stats. The difference is Yair Rodriguez in the UFC is 10-2-1. He's a very dangerous guy. Taking on very high level opponents.
But you're talking about a Lyoto Machida style fighter versus a Rampage Jackson style fighter. Somebody's coming in boxing, and one dude's gonna trick you into lulling you to sleep, and then boom,
I
smack
think
you.
What's gonna happen is they're gonna stand up, and Josh Emmett's gonna realize after the first round he's just not as fast and as technical as Yair is. He's going to take shorter. The fight. He's going to take the fight to the ground, and I think Yair is going to tap him out in like the second or third round. Because Josh is a wrestler, dude. Yair is dangerous off of his back. So
I don't think he taps him out. I don't think Josh Emmett, as of late, has been willing to stand up with people. He knocks a couple guys out, and he's been willing. Look at Cater. He didn't try to shoot on Cater at all, and he was getting his ass pieced up. So for me,
he was landing shots as well, though, in that fight. That fight was very close.
He was landing shots, but Cater walked away with a bloody mouth, and Josh Emmett's face looked like he just got whacked by a fucking train. Let's be real. Yeah, and Yair Rodriguez hits like a motherfucker. This dude hits like a Mack truck. He's not coming in there to tap you with a leg kick. If he's kicking your leg, he's kicking your leg. If he's kicking your head, he's kicking your head. He's trying to put you out. And I don't see a shorter Josh Emmett who's throwing 1-2 shots and big bombs. He's gonna hit win. Maybe he lands a couple of punches here and there.
Yeah, I just don't think he has the footwork or the combinations to mix it up with Yair on the feet. Yair's to me is definitely winning that fight.
I think Yair lulls him to sleep, letting him think that he can stand and bang with him, and then puts his ass away with a head kick. I really do. I think it's going to be a nasty knockout. And I may be wrong, but this is just my prediction. I predict Yair Rodriguez, second round, fucking head kick knockout.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Hit us in the comments, guys. We're going to move on to the fight before these two big fights. You got Della Maddalena versus Randy Brown going down in welterweight. Now, Jack, 5'11", 13-2, 11 KOs and 1 submission. This guy's been tearing shit up since he's coming to the UFC. And then you got Randy Brown, 6'3", 16-4, 6 KOs, 5 submissions. Well diverse in his game plan here. But Randy Brown goes to decision often. Jack Della Maddalena is on a 13-fight win streak. His last 3 wins are by first-round KO. Randy Brown is 10-4 in the UFC, and he's been in the UFC since 2016. He's had a big name. And he's had the height and reach advantage on a lot of opponents. I'm very curious to see what goes down in this fight. Me personally, I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to bullshit. I don't give a shit. I like both of these guys. I watch both of these guys fight. I just think Della, Maddalena, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I believe that first round KO streak, he's not going to continue that, but I think he's going to knock Randy Brown clean out in this fight. Randy's probably going to stand with him and try to be pretty and pick his shots, and I think Jack's just going to fucking sink one on him. What do you think?
I'm taking Jack to win, but I'm taking him to win by decision. I think Randy is a veteran of the sport. He's very, very crafty himself. As of late, he hasn't been too impressive. I'll agree with that. But he does have knockout power. He has long reach. He's very used to just picking guys apart. I think he drags the fight out. I think if Jack's gas tank, because that's one thing I'm kind of worried about is as he gets up in the rankings, his gas tank doesn't look as good as it should for that level. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a lot of gas. If he was on the street, I'm sure he could fucking knock out 100 dudes in a row. But this is an MMA fight where people are training months on end to go into combat together. So I think if his gas tank can hold up, I think he wins a decision. I think that he outstrikes Randy. I think Randy's going to be a little bit too. I think he's going to go in there and realize he's fighting a big fucking dude. And I think he's going to be a little bit more preserved. And I think Randy's just going to be more willing to lose a decision than try to risk anything.
Well, the only thing that matters is that if Jack stuffs Randy's takedowns, because Randy's standing up, I don't see him winning this fight. He's too pretty.
Not at all.
He picks his shots too much, and Jack has some serious power, and he will be willing to close the gap. So if he can stuff Randy's takedowns, I say he wins by knockout. So
I'm gonna say Randy's a crafty vet. I think he loses by a decision. I'm taking Jack, 3rd round decision.
Sweet. All right, guys, lock it in. Let us know what you guys think. We're going to move on to the next fight. It's Justin Tafa taking on Parker Porter, 2 heavyweight bangers. I'm actually really excited for this fight because I think these guys are just going to let loose.
Let me just go with my prediction right off the rip. I am definitely not a big fan of Parker Porter. I think Justin Tafa knocks his ass out in round 1, possibly in under a minute.
Well, that's funny that you say that because I'm a huge fan of Parker Porter. And the reason why is because Justin Tafa, he does have 5 knockouts in the UFC, but he's also 2-3 in the UFC. I mean, all of his wins have come by KO. Now, Parker Porter is 3-2 in his last 5.
Whoa, you just said he had 5 knockouts in the UFC, and then he said he's 2-3 in the UFC. So
yeah, because some of his knockouts have come before the UFC. So Tafa's been.
He doesn't have 5 knockouts in the UFC. He has 5 knockouts on his record.
Oh yeah. He has 5. All of his wins in his professional career have come by way of knockout, but he's 2-3 in the UFC.
I was just trying to. I'm not trying to. I was just trying to clear that up.
No, you're right. So now all you people that are going to put money on this, that's something you want to know. Now Parker Porter, 13-7, 5 kills, 3 submissions. He has been knocked out himself. Significant strikes between these guys. 5.02 for Tafa, 6.49 for Parker Porter. Both of these guys have suspect chins. Both of these guys are going to be willing to stand and bang. And I agree. It's going to be a 1st round KO coming by way of the Porterhouse, Parker Porter, little T-bone steak. I say he knocks Tafa out. I mean, Tafa's been looking good lately. This is a tough one to pick.
One thing we can agree on is both of these guys are going to come to fucking take each other's heads off. That's one thing we can agree on.
Look, I just think that something about the heavyweights, especially these 2 guys, they're going to be blood hungry and they're going to want to put on a show. They're coming in the second.
Well, Tafa's going to be at home. Tafa's going to be at home in Australia. I think he's going to try to put on for the fans. I think he's really going to push and try to get a fucking KO early. I think Porter's just down to bang, and I just don't see him being technical enough. I think Tafa just has the edge with more diverse strikes with elbows, knees, things like that. I think he's going to be able to land it early.
Well, one thing we can say is whoever touches the chin first, it's sweet home good night, whatever the fucking saying is, but somebody's going to sleep. I got Parker Porter. Chris has got Justin Tafa locking it in. I mean, I don't know who you guys are going to go for, but definitely hit me in the comments because I'm curious to see what you guys think.
All right, guys, at light heavyweight, starting the main card, we got number 12, Jimmy Crute, taking on a uprising Alonzo Menifield. Go ahead, Matty. Let me know what you think about this prediction about this fight.
I think this fight should have been way higher on the main card. I mean, whatever. I know the UFC does this to set it off. Jimmy Crute and Alonzo Menifield are absolute savages. Both of these guys have knockout power. Both of these guys are dangerous. Now, Jimmy Crute has been brutally knocked out recently a couple of times, but he's also tapped out Paul Craig. I mean, he's had flashes of glory and flashes of defeat. While Alonzo Menifield, the dude is a freaking monster. He's 4-5 in his last 5 fights, and he has 10 first-round knockouts. Look, The average fight time between these guys is what really is impressive. 4 minutes and 37 seconds for Jimmy Crute. He's either kill or be killed, and 6 minutes and 12 seconds for Alonzo Menifield. I really fucking like Jimmy Crute. This is a very tough fight for me. I don't know these people personally. The fight styles is what makes me a fan. I just think Alonzo Menifield is more dangerous. I think Jimmy Crute has showed that if he gets caught, he gets knocked out, and he's tough as shit. But I think that Menifield is definitely going to land on him and put him to sleep.
I mean, see, this is the hard part for me is because I really, when I say this, I really do fucking like Jimmy Crute. I hope he bounces back, and I hope he wins this fight. But if you're looking at damage, I mean, he's fucking broke his leg recently. I mean, the fight against
Anthony Smith.
I mean, freak accident, but he fucking blew his knee out. I mean, he's been knocked brutally
Jamal
out
Hill
recently.
knocked him.
No, I was gonna say Jamal Hill recently brutally KO'd him. So you know, and Alonzo Menifield just recently has a KO win over fucking Misha Krnokonev. Or guys are gonna eat me up in the comments, but he recently has 2 KOs back to back or TKO KOs. So I mean, if you're looking at stylistically, I really like Jimmy Crute, but I have to go with Menifield because Alonzo Menifield is just on a tear right now, and I think he takes that number 12 right out from Jimmy Crute. I don't know how it's gonna go down, but as Matty explained, these guys are kill or be killed. So you can bet your ass by round 2, this is going to be a finish.
Look,
and if it's going to be a finish, I'm taking Alonzo Menifield.
I just think Menifield throws with way more bad intentions. I mean, Crute he's a savage himself, but Menifield throws with, you can just see when he punches that he's throwing to hurt you. He's trying to knock you out with every time he tries to land. So I got Menifield. I mean, my money is going on him. I don't really care who wins this fight. If Jimmy Crute wins, I'm not going to be mad either. But I got Menifield winning. Look, guys, hit us in the comments. Let us know who you guys have. It's going down in 1 week, February 11th. It's going down in Perth, Australia, but it will be the same time Pacific. 7 p.m. is when the main card starts. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified. We'll be drop more content, and we will see you guys soon.
Haters talking shit, yeah, they breath stank. Walk up in the club, dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an